The president takes action to protect abortion access. We'll look at what changes in Colorado. The Republican running for governor said she'd reveal her right-hand man yesterday. Didn't happen. Then things got weird, so Marshall started digging around. Denver's efforts to go green are leaving some families behind. They say they're not being listened to, and they don't have the money to keep up with the city's plans. The smoke is cleared from illegal 4th of July displays, leaving behind one next viewer's good question. Will insurance cover damage from dumb choices? Speaking of choices,
I had for lunch ice cream.
I support that choice, and I support good news of any kind, as long as it's yours and it's here on a Friday night, because this is next. More people are coming to Colorado for abortion access since Roe was overturned, and the new presidential executive order today could increase security at Colorado's abortion clinics if they become targets for violence. President Biden's executive order does not have the power to give people in conservative states abortion access, nor does it use federal funds to help those people travel across state lines to places like Colorado for reproductive health care. The order does reinforce that hospitals must provide emergency care, which is a directive aimed at doctors in states with abortion bans where they were worried about what they could do to save a person's life. The office of Colorado's Democratic Attorney General Phil Weiser told me today that they think that a few sections of Biden's order could have a real impact here. Free legal services for women facing charges out of state, patient privacy rules, and that order directing protection for abortion clinics, which have faced threats of violence. Republican gubernatorial candidate Heidi Ganahl said that she would announce her pick for lieutenant governor yesterday, teased that selection, saying that it was a Latino leader from rural Colorado. Yesterday came and went with no announcement on a lieutenant governor from the Ganahl campaign. Then things got a little weird. So let's bring in politics guy Marshall Zellinger trying to connect the dots on this. So Marshall, our partners at Colorado Politics ran a story naming Ganahl's lieutenant governor choice, like named the guy, and then they retracted the story.
And here I am saying it. The focus is on a Los Animas County commissioner. His name is Felix Lopez. Colorado Politics said he was going to be Ganahl's running mate and then deleted the story saying the campaign said Lopez is not the pick. Here's the thing. Lopez, a Los Animas County commissioner, is also board president of Colorado Counties, Inc., a group that helps county commissioners statewide. I reached out to CCI yesterday to talk with Lopez, and instead the response was, Felix says that all calls should go to the spokeswoman with the Ganahl campaign. So I called her and asked 3 questions. Was Lopez asked to run as lieutenant governor, and did he say yes? Was he asked, and did he say no? Was he asked, did he say yes, and then just back out before it was announced? I've not received direct answers to these questions yet. Here's why we're asking. Listen to Ganahl on Conservative Talk Radio 1 week ago today.
We also have a great lieutenant governor pick that we're going to announce next Thursday.
Okay.
But he is a very strong Hispanic leader from rural Colorado who I think will help us do the job of uniting Colorado.
Instead of calling CCI, I called Lopez directly today, and he answered his phone. He said he's not sure who let that information get out premature and that there are still conversations going on. Let's just wait, he said. I asked if he was asked to be lieutenant governor, and did he say yes? And that's when his phone started to cut out and disconnect. No kidding. He did not answer when I called back, and he did not respond to my text.
Yeah.
Ganahl's spokeswoman told us that the Colorado Politics story was not true and that they pushed back the announcement because of the holiday week.
See, that's because 4th of July, man, they put it on a different day every year, and it sneaks up on you. But so now here's the tricky part, because obviously one thing that people want in a governor is like, do you tell the truth or do you lie? And they've come out after this Colorado Politics story and said Lopez is not the pick. So if he ends up being the pick, like lying to the public, that's a tough way to start a campaign.
And based on my conversation with him, he said, let's just wait. So I want to know, was he ever the pick? Did he back out? Did they back out? Like, we have to know. And as with the publicity now, it's like, can he be the pick even if they wanted him to be the pick?
Yeah.
But it's what happens behind the scenes that gives you an idea of, like, if he is the pick or if he isn't the pick, and we find out the backstory, it's like, that gives you perhaps insight whether you want to vote for someone or not.
Yeah. Some people like excitement in campaigns. And once and for all, we need to start putting the 4th of July on the calendar, the same date every year, so this holiday doesn't sneak up and ruin people's plans like they did with this announcement. Marshall, thank you. The city of Denver's plans to go green had the potential to leave some entire neighborhoods worse off in the process. These are families that recognize the importance of fighting climate change because they say it's impacting them already. Here's Anusha Roy with the city's pledge to do a better job of listening.
Gracias.
On a 94-degree day, we found shelter in the picnic area of the Four Winds Park in the Westwood neighborhood to talk about just how hot the city is getting.
And people were able to come into our room and really tell us what are their struggles, what are they facing.
Patsy Landaveri with Energized Denver helps run listening sessions here and in Montbello so the city can develop a climate adaptation plan that will actually work here.
So they are struggling between buying food and paying their electricity bills.
The list of day-to-day struggles because of climate change is long. Many houses have bad insulation. That leads to higher energy bills.
When a day is really hot, they see themselves forced to go to a friend's house. They have to go to a water park.
But this kind of vital information wouldn't reach the city unless there are people like Gabby Medina with the community organization Buku West. She's one of the people creating a safe environment for people to share. People who sometimes feel like they've been forgotten.
También sabemos que la barrera del idioma.
We know that language is also a barrier, and that limits their ability to go directly to the city to access some of those programs.
Gabby says the struggle is only getting worse the hotter it gets.
Cosas personales.
So two of the areas that we have seen that people are unable to afford now is clothing, shoes. We have also seen a need in being able to buy things like diapers.
At the same time, buildings are responsible for a good chunk of greenhouse gas emissions, and Denver has a goal of net zero emissions by 2040. But if the city doesn't develop the right kind of plans, the ripple effect is significant. And the families here could be left out of the benefits, struggle to afford living in these neighborhoods, and live a healthy life in their own home.
So the Energized Denver ordinance is for commercial multifamily buildings to become more energy efficient when it financially makes sense. The city did say that for the more vulnerable communities, that's going to include rebates or incentive programs, but at the same time said they are really crafting this program and customizing it depending on what these families say so that it does work and that it does have the long-term effects that are positive and not negative.
And the hope, I mean, this is one piece of a much larger puzzle that the city's trying to put together.
Right. There's so many different layers to it, right? You've got the neighborhood by neighborhood specific plans. You've got a citywide solar plan that's donating energy to lower income DPS families to lower down their electricity bills. There's e-bikes. I mean, the list is so long. It's a lot of change to keep tabs on in Denver.
All right. Anusha, thank you very much. A Coloradan who stormed the U.S. Capitol in that mob of Trump supporters on January 6th predicted just what was going to happen to him. He's now facing federal charges.
I'm probably going to lose my job as a pastor after this, but what is it going to take?
That's Tyler Etheridge from Colorado Springs, who shared videos from inside the rotunda during the insurrection. Federal investigators were like, thanks, bud. Help build the case against him for civil disorder and some misdemeanors. The U.S. Attorney's Office says before entering the Capitol, he helped to remove fencing outside and told the crowd to keep fighting as the mob was beating police officers defending the Capitol. Less than 2 weeks after the insurrection, Etheridge's prediction came true. He was out of his pastoring job with a church in Florida. He'd come out of the conservative televangelist Andrew Womack's Bible College in Woodland Park, Colorado in 2017. Last year, Etheridge posted on social media that he wasn't afraid of any sentence he could get, saying, quote, America is still primed and ready. That ongoing threat of future extremist violence in our country leads me to our latest recommended reading. I recommend that you read the warnings of a professor and author who studies civil wars and political violence. Barbara Walter was interviewed recently for the Washington Post. She explains that what's far more likely than a repeat of the American Civil War is sporadic violent attacks from militia groups with allegiances to various political figures. We've been reporting on how that is happening right here in Colorado, with these groups forming and allying with various political figures. Walter told the Post, quote, I wish it were the case that by not talking about it, we can prevent anything from happening. But the reality is, if we don't talk about it, they're going to continue to organize. They're going to continue to train. Professor Walter said, they are preparing for war, and not talking about it does not make us safer. Put a link to that article we recommend on the next Facebook page. Colorado Democrats are trying to get in line for an early presidential primary. The usual states, Iowa and New Hampshire, you may have noticed, are quite white. The Democratic Party realizes that that poses some problems with letting those states weigh in first on each presidential race. So the Democratic National Committee has agreed to shuffle the traditional calendar, and Colorado is in the mix to move up. The DNC's Rules Committee met today. They'll consider the list of 17 finalists, which includes 16 states and Puerto Rico. All want to get to the front of the line. They're going to narrow that down to 4 or 5 early next month. The full DNC is scheduled to vote in early September. The vice chair for Colorado's Democratic Party, Howard Chow, says that each state's being evaluated on 3 criteria: diversity, competitiveness, and feasibility. Chow pointed out that Colorado has racial diversity, geographic diversity, and some competitive political races, even if the state has trended a bit left of center. I really hope that we're going to do more this 4th of July week to celebrate the United States and all those who stand to protect it than just, wave the flag and have a cookout. That is why this week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign is a chance to thank and support in a very direct way the Coloradans who serve our country and community through the Colorado National Guard. The Colorado National Guard Foundation is a nonprofit that provides interest-free loans and grants to Guard members and their families when they run into hardships while they're serving. Often that can be during a deployment, when somebody's out of the house. Issues that come up through no fault of their own. It's medical emergency, a death in the family, fires and floods at home, trouble paying for childcare or making rent. The foundation steps in and helps those families out directly. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to join me and a bunch of Next viewers in helping the Colorado National Guard Foundation help these Guard families pay for unexpected expenses while their attention is focused on serving our community and our country. What happens when illegal fireworks set fire to your home? Asking for a Colorado and their insurance company. CDOT gets permission to open up those express lanes in the mountains more often. Empty express lanes has been a constant source of frustration for Next viewers. But it's Friday, so let's set aside time for something positive.
We haven't let them have any ice cream until today.
That sounds like the makings of good news. We'll share more of it next. Our next question comes from Fran, wanting to know what happens when a house fire is started by improperly disposed of fireworks, like over the weekend in Highlands Ranch, where all fireworks are technically banned right now. Are those homeowners going to get charged? Fran wanted to know, will insurance cover the cost of rebuilding? You got a couple of good questions there, Fran. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office says it can issue citations since the county's under Stage 1 restrictions. But let's be honest, we have seen no appetite from law enforcement in the metro area to actually enforce Colorado's fireworks laws. The garage fire that you're referring to, Fran, was ruled accidental by fire investigators. We touched base with Carol Walker from the Rocky Mountain Insurance Group. It's an industry group. She couldn't speak to that specific fire, but she said generally, burning down part of your own house by accident would be covered.
Another hot day out there as highs soared into the 90s yet again for us. A couple of thunderstorms out there this evening. A few up in the foothills might race around the metro area within the next hour or so. We do have one severe cell that's going to last for about another 15 minutes time. Some small hail in this one that's now pushing into Elbert County. Otherwise, looking ahead toward the weekend, this ridge of high pressure takes control, and that means a huge warm up on the way. In fact, a heat advisory is in effect for the Denver metro area up and down the I-25 corridor, I-76, 10 a.m. till 8 o'clock tomorrow. Temps potentially as high as 103. So hopefully the AC is working. Could be a record breaker too. 98 tomorrow's record high was actually last set last year. My forecast high 99 here in the city. 101 in Greeley as well as Sterling. 70s and 80s up in the mountains, but triple digits off to the western slope. 100 degrees on Sunday, and then we'll slowly cool things off and bring back a chance of storms early next week.
If you are headed to the mountains for a cool down this weekend, the westbound express lane on I-70 will be open for a fee. One of the most frequently asked questions we've received around here over the years is why those I-70 express lanes are so often closed even on busy days. We've been answering this question as far back as 2017. The deal is that CDOT was limited by federal rules on how often the express lanes could be opened because they're like makeshift shoulder lanes. They're not real lanes. The limit used to be 75 days a year. But we got an update. Now the eastbound lane can be open 100 days a year and the westbound lane 125 days. More time because it gets more traffic.
What we have done is we have redesigned these shoulders so that they can take traffic on a part-time situation, such as on the weekends, but they're not designed to take traffic 24/7, and we really don't need them 24/7. So during the weekdays, they function as emergency shelters.
So you'll see them open, mostly holidays and weekends, but more often than they used to be. And don't freelance it if they're closed. It's illegal to drive in the express lane unless you have an emergency.
DIA's blindingly bright sign's going to go dark for a while, at least part of it. It's Friday, so we'll stay cool and share your good news.
My good news is I have a job, and I love my job, and we also serve really good ice cream.
That's next.
It's hot. People are cranky. The solution? Ice cream. And good news. Photojournalist Tom Cole grabbed his camera and his favorite question to ask you. What's your good news?
Hey, there's more left. I didn't see it. Down the hatch.
Ice cream is not entirely seasonal.
Oh, it is hot. So we thought a little ice cream party was pretty fitting. My good news is that we have made it 2 years with 2 rambunctious little boys, and they're happy and healthy, and we're just celebrating them this weekend.
They clearly like ice cream.
My good news is that I made the playoffs for baseball.
My good news is I have a job, and I love my job, and we also serve really good ice cream.
It's really nice to wake up to misty mornings for the first time in 4 years, so we're not quite as worried about the threat of fire on our homes. That's been really good news for us.
I had for lunch ice cream.
My good news is that My Kings is open from 1 to 8, Thursday through Sunday.
My good news is I'm going to gymnastics with my friend.
My good news is that I get lots of time this summer to play music and work on music, because that's something that I love to do.
I got an ice cream sandwich, and that is very good news. And now it's gone.
We haven't let them have any ice cream until today.
So you know that super bright sign that scans your retinas as you drive out Pena Boulevard toward the airport? It will not be shining as brightly for a bit. That and your feedback next. If you think Lodo Bros are lit at 1 a.m. on a Friday night, you have not seen just how lit the DIA sign on Pena Boulevard is. Nothing has ever been as well lit as that sign. But now part of it's going dark. DIA says somebody stole parts of the easternmost welcome sign, some electrical components. DIA won't say what exactly. So for now, they are going to power down that sign. DIA says it's working on repairs and they think it should be fixed next week. Until then, enjoy the darkness. The other 2 screens will continue to blast you. Keith says, will the 4th of July be the same day next year? I hope so. Super wrong how the Ganal campaign had scheduled the lieutenant governor announcement for yesterday, then the holiday moved it. Unfair.